Welcome to Fight Sport Manila, the podcast, hosted by that same dude you see in every video, Paulo Gonzalez.
Alright, welcome to the second episode of the Fight Sport Manila podcast. My name is Paulo Gonzalez, and today we're going to talk about the latest news in wrestling, mixed martial arts. Also, we have a guest today who will be giving us an insight on Juego Todo. Now, I know Juego Todo is new to your ears, but just to give you a quick rundown of what it is, Juego Todo is a weaponized cage fighting. So, inside a cage, these people, they would be fighting using arnis during the first and second round. And on the third round, it's going to be mixed martial arts rules, but, we'll let our guest explain further later. Anyways, before we get to him, let's get to the latest news. Let's start in wrestling, Summerslam'd just ended. It was an amazing show. I enjoyed it. Ronda Rousey won her first WWE title. Aside from that, Brock Lesnar lost and Roman Reigns finally got the W. It's really amazing on how they orchestrated it. Before the match started between Brock and Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman came out and said that he is going to cash in after the match. That's a good move, because number one, people don't need to boo the whole match, because they know that Braun is coming after anytime, and there's a chance of him winning. Now, what Brock did was good. He beat up Braun. He threw the briefcase into the entrance. Now, what happens with that? It eliminates Braun, then Roman gets the spear, and the W. Another cool thing is that during the next day, Roman gave the first title shot to Finn Balor. He's been asking for that rematch for the longest time. He never lost the title, he just surrendered it. When he returned from injury, he never got his title shot. Number one, that's a good thing because it shows Roman is a fighting champion. The other cool thing they did was they brought Braun again, but this time, the Shield reunited. Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins. Now that's a question mark for the fans, because they're going to mark out with the Shield, but the crazy thing is, they don't know if they're going to boo or they're going to cheer because of all these surprises that are happening. So good job, Vince. It's really cool. For a more comprehensive review, why don't you check out Paul Christian's SummerSlam review on the Fight Sport Manila Facebook page. It sucks that Finn Balor lost his rematch though. It could have been in a pay-per-view. I was rooting for him too. I hope he had his demon persona, because that's a sure win. But I guess they gave up on it. I hope not, but that's what I feel. Now let's go on to MMA. Alright, the Khabib versus McGregor fight in Las Vegas, Nevada sold out in 3 minutes. A lot of people are weary, because they say the card isn't that good. I mean, after Conor and Khabib, you have Lewis and Volkov. Then you have guys like St. Preux and Sergio Pettis fighting. They make a point. But here's the cool thing. Sean O'Malley is in the card. I was amazed during his first fight. He fought in the main card and he won with a broken foot. That's amazing. And I'm so excited to see how this works out. And of course, Conor and Khabib is going to be a great fight. Lewis brings it. I'm sure St. Preux and Sergio Pettis is going to bring it. Then Waters and Felice Herrig. I think it's an underrated card. I just hope O'Malley's in the main card, because he deserves to be in that pay-per-view lineup. I'm sure he's going to have some eyes tune in on him. Alright, I have a guest today. His name is Sir Ariel. I don't know if it's Javines or Javines. I'm going with Javines. And we're going to talk about some latest news in MMA. And aside from that, Juego Todo. So I'm looking forward for you guys to hear this. Alright, so I'm here with Sir Ariel Javines. Did I pronounce it right?
Actually, no, but
How do you say it, man?
Sir Ariel Javines. But kung gusto mong short, pwedeng Javi na lang.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. I've checked your Facebook. You like to be called Javi instead of Ariel. What's up with that, man?
Actually, Ariel is what my family calls me. And medyo hindi ako sanay na tinatawag ko Ariel by anyone outside of my family. Kasi nag-umpisa yung Javi, I think high school ata or college. Mainly because of my last name, obviously. First 4 letters of my
Ah, that's really good, man. That's why I called you Javines. I think Javi sounds better than Javi.
Oh,
That's
but
why I thought it sounds.
it's probably one of the blessings and curses of having a unique name. So like 22 years na akong nabubuhay having to explain to people how to pronounce my name. I just came to the point of giving it up. Like as long as you're referring to me and even if you're pronouncing it wrong, it's fine.
That is a good
Like
thing. Now, this is the first time most people would hear about you. Could you give us a quick introduction or just tell us something about yourself?
as of now, I'm an engineering student aspiring to finish 2 degrees. And then I also happen to be an MMA fan. And it's no secret that I'm also active on MMA events, especially at meet and greets and fight events. Actually, doon kita nakilala sa URCC last year.
Actually, yeah. Was that a year ago? We've known each other for a year. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was a year ago. I think kay Dane kita nakilala and you were having to just before the URCC 30 show.
Yeah, yeah, man. I think I remember you wore that Linkin Park shirt. Am I right?
I'm actually wearing it now.
That's your favorite shirt, huh?
Yeah, I happen to listen to a lot of bands. Like I've listened to bands that are probably greater and better, but LP is just my favorite. Something I some the group that I could really relate to. But I also listen to all sorts of music, predominantly rock.
Now, I do have to ask you, since you're a Linkin Park fan, there's a lot of sides regarding it if they should come back or not. One side is saying they should not come back because Chester's not there, while the other side said they should continue the legacy. I want to know, which side are you on?
Actually, I'm just dependent on what they want to do, and I respect what they think they should do. As of now, even they don't know what to do. As far as I know, they plan to continue naman. Me, I would probably prefer na maging five-piece na lang sila, or probably just record Chester's voices on their live shows, whatnot. But I trust Mike Shinoda's ability to surprise. I'm certain they want to continue, and I will respect if it's not soon enough. And also, actually, si Mike Shinoda, he just released his post-traumatic solo album like 2 months ago. So you could probably check that one out.
Yeah, how are you liking the Mike Shinoda solo album so far?
I think it's great. Actually, noong January pa ako nakikinig nun. Like, he probably never meant for it to be an album. Naririnig ko kasi sa interviews, like, it, uh, he relied on his art and writing songs. And it's not really a dark album to say the least. So it's his personal journey.
Now, let's go on to the MMA news. So I just want to know your reactions, okay? Yeah, first news right now, man. It's Conor versus Khabib. What are your thoughts regarding that?
As far as the side goes, as of now, I'm still at neutral to say the least. The reason being is, I think it's a very compelling match, and it's hard for me to pick a side because I like both fighters actually. Like, obviously, Conor is a stand-up guy. It's fun to watch him, especially at press conferences. That's what gets us excited, and it's also fun to see him fight because he backs up his trash talk. On the other hand, we have Khabib, who's a legitimate killer, wrestles with bears, and I happen to also like his style of grinding, wearing his opponent's out. I'm more of a grappling guy as well, since before I trained MMA, I trained judo, so I appreciate the art of grappling, the ground game, and all that stuff. And it's too compelling for me to pick one side. This is probably going to be outcome for me, but as far as I see the fight goes, I think the first 2 rounds will most probably most probably favor Conor McGregor, as long as he's not taken down really quickly. I think Conor McGregor's takedown defense is quite underrated as well, and I think his pinpoint accuracy, his speed, his movement, his angles, his knockout power would help him. But if he gets taken down by Khabib, we all know Khabib could really tire you out. And we know that Conor McGregor usually gasses out, especially after the second round. And we've seen that. Anyway, about Khabib, if the fight goes longer than 2 rounds, I think it will go his way. considering that Connor's most probably tired. Could probably take one punch for Connor to knock Khabib out, but you know, I don't know if Khabib's chin is solid, so I could still see it going either way at this point.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with your sentiments, man. It's a very compelling fight. It's going to be amazing to see how it unfolds because a lot of people they wrote Connor off when he was facing Jose Aldo and he knocked him out in 13 seconds. So I'm excited to see that fight. Now let's go to the next news, man. DJ versus Henry. Who do you think won the fight? And what are your thoughts regarding the whole match itself?
Uh, I don't think there is really a clear winner in that fight. If it's a split decision and a razor thin close fight, my thoughts on it were I was amazed with how it played out. I was also amazed at Mighty Mouse's professionalism. Even though he didn't get the result that he wanted, he was so professional. He didn't even complain about a single thing. I felt very happy for Cejudo. Usually, I become a bigger fan of fighters after they lose because I'd like to see how they rise up from such major setbacks. I mean, obviously, their first encounter didn't go his way. He was finished early. He went back to the drawing board and made adjustments, made improvements. We saw it in their rematch. I'm appreciating how competitive it was. I have no complaints with how it played out. It was a surreal moment for Henry Cejudo.
That's the same thing I'm thinking about. There's one more news, and it's the upcoming fight between Justin Gaethje and James Vick. Who do you think will win that fight?
To be honest, I haven't paid too much close attention to James Vick. I don't even remember if I watched him fight. About Justin Gage, he seems to fight reckless, especially since he fought in the UFC. I like to see how it plays out, really, because it's compelling. Because I could probably consider James Vick, for me at least, as virtually unknown against this highlight reel fighter like Justin Gage. I just wish for it to be a competitive fight. And uh, I guess my only prediction for that fight, a fight of the night bonus.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking that too. You know, every time Justin Gaethje fights, it's definitely performance of the night or fight of the night or even both, because he brings it.
Alright, man, before we move on, you have to know this. Oral health should be a top priority. You have to see your dentist at least twice a year. That's every 6 months. Not taking more of your time. Out of 365 days in a year, you just need to be there 2 days. And that's 6 months apart. And if you're going to do that, please do it in RP Gonzalez Dental Clinic. It's situated in Mindanao Avenue, Quezon City. That's one ride from Trinoma and SM. And if you're from Muñoz, it's also one ride. It's very accessible. They offer a lot of general dental services like oral prophylaxis, that's cleaning, tooth filling, and also tooth extraction. Aside from that, they do braces. And a lot of you wants to save money from braces, and they go do it yourself, DIY. The thing is, if a professional does not do it, it could do you more harm than good. And it would end up that you have no teeth at all. So have a professional do it. Aside from that, if you don't have any teeth and you want to regain your smile, they also offer dentures. All kinds of prostheses. You need full dentures, you need jackets, fixed bridge. They offer that. So check on RP Gonzalez Dental Clinics. That's facebook.com/RP Gonzalez Dental Clinic. Or you could call them at their number. That's 0923-619-5160. Or you could call them on landline. That's 983-9138. Again, make oral health a top priority. See your dentist. Go to RP Gonzalez Dental Clinic.
So let's go to the main event, man. For the
Yeah.
casual listeners, could you give them a brief idea on what it is about?
Well, at least my idea about Juego Todo is it's a weapon-based MMA competition. I'm not really sure about the technicalities or the specific type of weapons they use. As far as I know, in the first round they use weapons in both hands, and then second round they have one free hand and one hand with weapon. And then in the third round, it's all out MMA. And what I think stands out about it is the way the flow of the fight could actually change in an instant. For example, if you're fighting with a weapon, sometimes it's to a point where you're leading as long as the weapons are available. But then once the weapons are out, you know, the momentum could change and the fight itself could go into the favor of the other side. I've actually seen it. This blue corner fighter, he was leading as long as they were weapons, and by the third round when the weapons are out, I was shocked to even see that. What I think is kind of significant about it is, if I'm not mistaken, our Filipino martial arts culture is also weapon based. Just a little bit of history here. Even Bruce Lee, when he started a martial art that is weapon based, I believe he learned it from a Filipino. Yeah, and Sir Ferdy, the CEO of UGB MMA, the one responsible for making the Juego Todo event possible, he claims that uh, it is only in the Philippines where you can see MMA fighting with weapons. And
Hmm.
so I guess the future is bright for this specific type of sport.
So yeah, you are part of the organizing committee during the HistoryCon Juego Todo eliminations. How did you get the part, man?
Actually, I wasn't really an official part of it, but I am part of the team. Those people that I'm friends with at UGB, they were the ones who were more involved. Like, they were the ones handling the funds, the events, the equipments, the gears, the fixing the fighters' profiles. But I voluntarily said to Sir Ferdy, we call him Papa Go. I voluntarily said that I wanted to help with the event. I know that it's for a good cause because Sir Ferdy usually hosts or organizes events wherein the funds for such events will go to either charity. So I voluntarily said I would come there and I want to like take a part.
Yeah, and you do know Sir Ferdy or Papa Goat. How did you get to meet him, and why do you call him Papa Goat? I guess people need to know what's behind that name.
Actually, I was invited to train at UGD by a friend of mine named RC Arcelia or Roman Carlo. Um, he knew Papa Goat since I think 2011 or 2012. And Roman or RC happens to be a high school friend of mine. But we started training MMA about last year. So that's where I met Sir Ferdy first. If I'm not mistaken, the moniker Papa Goat, I'd like to think as Goat as greatest of all time because I think, but UGB MMA, if I'm not mistaken, one of its first names was Goat Locker Gym. Considering that he was the one who founded it, I guess he got the Papa Goat name from the name of the gym itself, Goat Locker Gym.
Well, that's amazing, man. I thought there was another meaning behind that name. I also met Sir Ferdy. He seems like a really chill, cool guy. Based on how you met him, how hands-on was he in making Juego Todo happen?
He's pretty dedicated in what he does. He pretty much loves what he does. He's very passionate about promoting fights and helping the underprivileged fighters. He's pretty much a very helpful guy, and sometimes he hosts events here in Marikina. About the event in Angeles, Pampanga, which is on August 26th, an MMA fight event featuring fighters that come from the LGBT community, which I think will be historic because I think it's a rarity that we feature people from the LGBT community as the main attraction for an event. And I think it's a boost for their reputation, of course.
Yeah, that's a good thing, that LGBT event, because usually when you talk about MMA or fight sports in general, they think that it's for hardcore male, and it's good that Sir Ferdy or UGB is representing the LGBT community, because there's no difference in the way you punch or kick, regardless of what your orientation is. So kudos to Sir Ferdy for that. I do have to
Yeah.
ask you. you witnessed the fights in HistoryCon. As an MMA fan or a fight fan in general, what do you think of Juego Todo?
I think it's quite unique. I mean, like I said, the one thing that stands out in Juego Todo among other combat sports that we are all familiar with is that the endless possibilities that the, the momentum of the fight could shape at any moment. Another thing I like about Juego Todo is the connection and its significance to our history in Filipino martial arts, which is, I believe, is weapon based. And as far as the fights go, I apologize for not being able to pay my full attention to it because I was actually on duty to assist the fighters from the blue corner, and then I kind of performed double duty by cornering one of my friends during one of the fights as well. And yeah, my attention was on my walkie-talkie in case like shit goes down or something happens, or when I'm being asked to cue or assist the blue corner fighters on their gear, their wraps, their guards. The reception was really positive. I mean, people who witnessed the fights, whether they paid tickets or they just happened to walk by our booth, they actually enjoyed it. Even people from the booth of MWF, even they were somewhat watching it. They were also enjoying it. And yeah, speaking of pro wrestling, it's quite a unique and like unimaginable thing to see in a wrestling ring right beside an MMA cage in one area. It's fascinating to me since I happen to be a fan.
Yeah, it's really good that HistoryCon combined two disciplines, pro wrestling and MMA. Although some people tend to put pro wrestling down because it's allegedly fake, but the pain is real, the training is harder, and it's really good that they gave options for the viewers. Like after MWF was done, they were all watching Juego Todo. Because now, man, you did mention that you've done some work for the Blue Corner. I have to ask you, what do the fighters think of the concept of Juego Todo? Because most of them are MMA fighters, like pure MMA fighters. How do they feel about using the weapons during a fight?
Ah, right. I actually talked to them after the fight, and actually enjoyed it. I congratulated them for the experience that they got, and they enjoyed the experience as far as I could see. They were jolly enough to even want to take a picture with me for, you know.
You're a famous guy now, buddy. Also, man, I just also noticed that the winner of Juego Todo will get a house and lot. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
there
I
is there
think
cash
that's.
is there cash price aside from the house and lot?
I'm not sure, but you know that they get paid after their fights.
That's really
So
good if they're giving a house and lot. Because for those unaware, MMA fighters in the Philippines, they don't really earn much until they go to URCC 1 or UFC. If they're still in the underground, they aren't compensated well. And we have to realize, aside from those big paydays in the UFC or one championship, they still have their everyday expenses that they have to pay to. And good job for Juego Todo for at least giving them a house and lot so that they don't have to worry about where to sleep.
yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of people only see the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. Like they watch these fighters and they enjoy seeing people beat each other up. But most of these fans have no idea about the sacrifices that these fighters make. Especially fighters that fight in not so big promotions, so to speak, or the independent ones. Sometimes their own gears are not even provided by the promotion. Sometimes they have to also provide for their own expenses. To think that there are people that are willing to help these fighters means one way or another you have to reward these fighters after all the sacrifices they make, and especially because they risk life and limb into the ring every second.
Yeah, definitely, that is true. I realize that as of right now, Juego Todo isn't really using the traditional arnis, but they did mention that in the future they are going to use the real arnis, and it's gonna be very tricky for the fighters to find a way because it would be high risk for them. Like imagine if they did a kick and it actually gets hit by the arnis. It could be like Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman.
Yeah, that's probably one of the features of the sport as it evolves. I know injuries are going to be rampant, but I hope they don't get hurt too much to the point that they could no longer earn a living because that is why fighting is not for everyone. That is why fighting is a very brutal sport, ladies and gentlemen. Even though it looks enjoyable and even though you see fighters who are so passionate with what they do, it's never always easy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also why I like how Juego Todo used a different type of arnis during its first run. Because imagine if they used those actual arnis on people who aren't fully trained with weaponized cage fighting, then injuries could happen. Unlike this time, if they're still using those different arnis, the organizers could see what are the possible injuries and they could prevent that by modifying the rules or telling the fighters on how to properly defend themselves during the fight. So it's really good that they care about fighter safety first and foremost.
Yeah, I agree. I think that my Twitter handle is SERJAVINS.
Okay,
They said
Sir
they
Javines
sacrifice
on
life
Twitter.
and limb and they risk everything. Their safety should always be taken into consideration. Fighting is like their only source of income.
Yeah, definitely. Now you have a lot of friends who are into MMA, like Dane Torres. I want to ask you, you think they are gonna embrace Juego Todo?
I've been promoting it to our group chat actually. They happen to be happy about it. The last time I promoted it in our circle, they were amazed. Um, as far as Dane, Nero, and Von are concerned, actually, low-key lang muna ang pag-promote ko ng Lego Todo. And it's probably my fault na hindi ko gaano promote. But I'm positive that one way or another in the future, they will come to embrace it fully. Considering it's Filipino martial arts, siguro hindi ko lang kasi pa na-promote masyado yung uniqueness nila sa kanila. They don't have anything negative to say about it. Actually, in-invite ko din sila sa event kasi sayang na hindi sila nakapunta. But I will keep on sharing to them whatever is up ahead in the future.
Definitely. How long do you think it will take before Juego Todo evolves into something like the URCC, wherein it's shown on national television?
I'm not certain about the timetable, but I believe that the more frequent it happens, the more it gets exposure because I think there are scouts everywhere. And it could probably help if there were also famous people watching the events. Like the last weekend, I actually saw Rico Robles right there. He seems to have enjoyed the fight. I've talked to him during the event as well during one of my play times. Now, I'm not really sure when it will come to a point where it will be covered on national television. It's probably the concern of the NTRC. But I believe with Sir Ferdy's resources and passion, as well as his hard work, I believe it will come very soon enough.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Rico Robles was in HistoryCon. He was watching Juego Todo and he's checking out the area. In a nutshell, man, since you are, well, right now, I think you're already part of the team. If there are any listeners right now who want to check out Juego Todo, do you know any links or where to check them out online?
Okay, there's actually a Facebook page for Juego Todo. And actually, madali lang naman sila i-search din sa search bar sa Facebook. You could also follow and like Fun Fight as well as UGB MMA or Underground Battle Mixed Martial Arts. I think dalawa Facebook page ng UGB eh. Minsan naman, sinishare ko rin naman sa MMA Talk Philippines Facebook group ko may event where sometimes I send invites to like it.
Yeah, and yeah, speaking of fan fights, man, you train MMA. Are we going to see you in the cage anytime soon?
Um, Ngayon, my priority is my academic. One of my friends from UGB actually said, education is one thing you could really impart to your future generations. It's one that you could use for your good, for the good of the people. As far as fighting goes, it's just there. Kumbaga nandiyan lang. Probably siguro within 10 years, probably. Actually, I want to be able to compete at least just once because the reason being is I don't want to be lying in my bed or sitting in my house 20 years from now wondering what if.
That's what Brock Lesnar said, man.
Yeah, direct quote in case someone calls me out for plagiarizing. But yeah, I relate to that idea. It's one of my dreams. It's not my only dream to fight. It's one of my dreams. Of course, being an engineer is also one of my dreams. And I guess one fight or a couple may be enough for me. But if I don't stay too long into competition, as much as possible, I could probably look forward to getting more involved. Like probably being a promoter, a trainer, or as long as I'm involved. I could probably sit in as a commentator like Joe Rogan, who I happen to be a big fan of as well.
Yeah, that could happen, man. That could indeed happen. And again, man, I want to thank you for joining me on this podcast. Before I let you go, anywhere these people could catch you on social media or anything.
Don't follow me. No, I'm just kidding. My Twitter handle is SERJAVINS.
So your Twitter is Sir Javines.
And that was it, Sir Ariel Javines. You could call him Javi. Such a great guy. He gave a lot of insight on Juego Todo. I'm definitely going to watch the next event. I'm going to check it out on Facebook. Facebook.com/Juego Todo. It is a very innovative form of fighting. And in the future, I think it's going to improve. So you have to check it out. Now that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you so much. Again, check us out, Fight Sport Manila. Check us on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're also on YouTube. Check us. This is Paulo Gonzalez. You have a great day.